You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump's latest temper tantrum sets U.S. on path to Great Depression. Nobel economist, based on an article by Nick Hilden. Trump's tariff theater is not strategy. It is power without discipline, a deliberate break. President Donald Trump has used an obscure Smoot-Hawley provision to slap a 50% tariff on Canadian goods, despite the fact that the move appears almost surely illegal and plainly conflicts with the USMCA Trump himself negotiated. The White House says the tariffs will apply regardless of whether goods qualify under that agreement. So the country gets a familiar lesson. Trump treats law as optional, diplomacy as disposable, and the commitments of the United States as a mood swing with a seal on it. Who actually chose this? The decision sits with the president and the White House, not Canada, not consumers, not some abstract market force. Trump chose the escalation. Trump supplied the grievance, and Trump turned a trade relationship into a punishment ritual. The claim that Canada is discriminating against U.S. products reads less like policy than cover for a personal fit of anger, especially after Trump recently lashed out at Canada over wildfire smoke crossing the border. This is not governance discovering a problem. It is executive power manufacturing one. The blame is pointed downward on purpose. The framing tries to recast deliberate harm as a technical dispute. That is the misdirection. The damage will land on American consumers, while the administration pretends the target is Canadian behavior. It is the classic authoritarian trick in miniature. Inflict pain upward through the state, then tell the public the victim forced your hand. The point is not to win a concession. Krugman is right that nobody serious expects Canada to fold. The point is to demonstrate that Trump can break things, even when the break hurts the United States more than anyone else. Smoot-Hawley is a warning, not a template. This is not innovation. It is regression dressed up as toughness. Smoot-Hawley became infamous because it triggered retaliation and dragged trade deeper into collapse. The post-war answer was the opposite. Reciprocal agreements, negotiated reduction, predictable rules. Trump and his allies have dragged the country backward into the politics of arbitrary tariff punishment, where law is replaced by impulse and trade policy becomes a weapon for domestic grievance. That is not an America First strategy. It is a method for making America less reliable, less prosperous, and easier to isolate. The cost is diplomatic decay. Canada should be a stable ally, and by the source's account it used to be widely admired in the United States and viewed favorably by Canadians. Trump has converted that into resentment and distrust. That matters because alliances are not sentimental decorations, they are infrastructure. When the president makes a habit of treating friends like targets, he degrades the credibility of every future American commitment. The result is not leverage. It is collapse in trust, followed by a weaker country trying to bluff its way through the damage. The pattern. This is the larger pattern. Personalist rule using state power to satisfy impulse, punish perceived slights, and advertise dominance while refusing responsibility for the fallout. Trump does not just misuse institutions. He reveals how quickly they bend when a president decides that law, trade agreements, and diplomatic norms are merely obstacles to be smashed. The real story here is not a tariff. It is the transformation of public power into a vehicle for arbitrary injury, with Americans paying the bill for the spectacle. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Joe, thanks for listening.